So it's now turned over to me. Perfect. 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 So, Tim and I just talk. Tim and I have spent a great deal of time together because of our Rutgers commonality. So, the first thing I would love Tim to do is do a little bio of yourself. But but before that, I just wanted to mention that anybody's interested, I did a series of really interesting articles on Tim and on Ben White from Dome Audio. They are now on njdiscovered.com. And interestingly, I did those interviews of Tim just literally weeks before all the doors were shut. And we went into quarantine, so to speak. So, Tim, without
Yes.
further ado, I'm so thrilled to be able to introduce you, your background, the fact that we're Rutgers alums. Why don't you do a little bio of yourself?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the introduction, Kyle, and thank you for this opportunity, Jen, and also Nicole. I really appreciate you guys. Also, thank you for all the people who are tuned in and listening. Thank you for your time. This is going to be a very fun exhibit right now, and I can't wait to get going. So, just a little bit of context about my bio, who I am, where I'm from. I'm originally from Neptune, New Jersey, which is down by the shore. Growing up, I had a lot of interests. I love school. I love playing sports, and I love playing outside with my friends. And playing outside is where I think a lot of my imagination has grown, and it just gave me a lot of insight and a lot of different directions to just explore. And at the age of 13, I picked up a pair of clippers and I started cutting my hair because I loved arts and crafts in school. And all of a sudden, I started cutting my friend's hair. And as I got through high school, and once I got into college in 2018 at Rutgers, I'm sorry, 2008 at Rutgers, is when I started cutting a lot of students' hairs. I started cutting all my Rutgers teammates, coaches, their kids, and I just created a brand called the Wright Cut. So next to being a full-time football player and sole offense captain, and then being a scholar in academics, I was also a full-time barber. So I had to juggle those three things throughout college, and I sacrificed a lot. But with that sacrifice, gave birth to the Wright Cut, which is right on Livingston Campus, right there next to the rack, where we're open for both men and women's services to get your hair service done. So those things that I sacrificed and put the time and sowed the seeds and planted those seeds became very fruitful as where I'm at today. So I was able to open the Wright Cut in 2016. We're going on 4 years. We've already serviced over 10,000 people, and we've rendered over 30,000 services already. So that's just a quick background of myself. I'm a family man. I'm married to my high school sweetheart that I met in Neptune. We have three beautiful children that we're raising. My oldest is 6, my next is 4, my youngest is about to be a year old. So I got my hands full. I've been growing a business with my partner, Dome Audio, for the past 2 years, which is going to be a very fun topic to cover that we'll get into in a couple minutes. But that's just a brief overview of my background. And then last but not least, my NFL journey, winning the Super Bowl championship, playing with Tom Brady, learning a lot throughout that journey, learning how to adapt to all the different circumstances that came across my path. And that's one of the things I want to really press on today to share that knowledge with you guys as well. But it was just a great journey, a lot of things learned, a lot accomplished, and it gave me the ability to continue to network and broaden my Rolodex of people that I have as resources that I'm using today. So that's just a full, quick scope of my background, and I'm ready to get into the nuts and bolts with Calvin.
It's funny, when you and I sat down to do the njdiscover.com interview, it was 8 hours. I don't know if people know that. So we got to kind of compact things. But what we've envisioned is this is such a strange, difficult world now, and especially for college students. So as alums, to give back, to give to them support and ideas. So you've been so successful. So if we can kind of touch in on some things that are important to you, to guide them. So question one, using resources around you, and pursuing your goals and things you learned at Rutgers. Can you talk about that? Using resources around you.
Yes. And one of the things I want to add before I answer that topic or get on that topic is how you and I met, Calvin. So you just said giving back. Giving back is a staple in my identity. I think when you give back to people, things become full circle for you. It's reciprocal. You give good things out, good things come to you. So in 2015, I opened and launched and founded my academy nonprofit, the Wright Way Academy. And I had a football camp for my community back in 2015 for all the youth who are underprivileged and didn't have resources to get exposed to premium, football clinic and training and just academic awareness and life skills. So we incorporated those three things and we gave a tremendous experience to my community. And Calvin was able to cover that and air that and just capture that whole moment. So me and Calvin met over 7 years ago now, so it's been quite a journey, and I'm very grateful for that. But for all the listeners who are students who are currently in college, I would say one of the great things about college is the ability to network, is the ability to broaden your horizon. There's a lot of resources out there that you may not be tapping into, and when you're in college, you may feel like I have a full board of classes, whether you're taking 5 or 6 classes, you're doing some extracurricular activity. If you have free time, you should be utilizing that time as much as possible. Whether that's getting yourself involved with things you're not even comfortable with. One of the things you want to do is identify areas that you may have not even thought that you were interested in. So when you go out on a limb and you just jump in and go explore some things that you may not thought you'd like before, you'll be surprised at some of the things that really might interest you that can become passions and that can become something that you might even pursue in your as a career that you wasn't even in school originally for. So I was able to utilize my network, expand my network by making myself active in different areas. One of the things that I'm grateful for in terms of networking was my ability to cut hair. So as students would, hit up my phone and they'll text me trying to make an appointment, I was literally cutting hair right inside of the football facility. And students would come in from all across the world, students that came to Rutgers for their education. I would be cutting their hair. So I would be just getting different background, different insight from different walks of life all around the world. And I was able to soak in a lot of that information and that energy and then give that out to people who was looking for insight from a different arena or different area. So that became something that was very reciprocal for me. And when I went to go open my barbershop in 2016, all of that experience over those 5 years of cutting hair at Rutgers gave me the insight to be able to create the best promotions and provide the best service for people from all across the life that were my consumers from all around the world. So I'm very grateful for that. But I just want to, make sure that you guys understand that the time you have is the most valuable time right now to continue to explore and gain interest and soak up as much information as you can while you're in school.
Great. That I would love to add to that. We don't have time, but that's exactly right. Number two, the thing that is so with the pandemic and with college kids is the term fear.
Yes.
Fear of the unknown, fear of. So how about if you address facing fear, because you've had great experience in that in your NFL career. So if you could talk about facing fear, repetition, preparation, those kind of things as it relates even to your NFL journey.
Absolutely. I think my number one principle and something that's just burning inside of me is understanding that the only thing you can control is preparation. With this current pandemic right now, there's a million things going on around the world that we just cannot control. We can consume it, we can understand it, but we cannot control it. So I just encourage you guys, and something that I did, and I'll give a backstory real quick. In college in 2010, I was on the verge of having a breakout season as a just a college wide receiver that was going to be known around the ranks of college football, and also going into having one of my most successful semesters as a student. And literally, I worked as hard as I could in every area of my life. I was a leader. Like I said, I was a captain. I had high honors, and I also was just excelling on the football field. And all of a sudden, in training camp in August, right before the season started, I tore my ACL. It was the 5th practice of training camp, and out of nowhere, I was running a route right at the end of practice, and boom, tore my ACL. When you tear your ACL, you're out for the entire year. And that requires grueling hours of rehab, pain, from an emotional standpoint, physical standpoint, spiritual standpoint. So I was very fearful that I may not even be able to come back on the football field and be the player that I was right before I tore it. All I did was take it day by day. After I cried one time when I tore my ACL, I cried one time and that was it. And I approached it day to day. The only things I can control, I did. And when I focused on that, literally 11 months later, I came back on the field. I had to wear a knee brace for my entire junior season. I caught my first touchdown, and then games after that, I caught my next touchdown. And then next thing you know, I was just back on track to continue to ascend on the track that I was. After my senior year, when I graduated, I had an opportunity to go into the NFL, but it wasn't looking hopeful for me to get drafted. So when you're undrafted and that's your max opportunity, not being a draft candidate, it's almost like the odds are just stacked against you. But all I knew was preparation. That was the bottom line, preparation. So I couldn't control my speed. I couldn't control my weight or all the tangibles that was being criticized against me from NFL front offices. I couldn't control any of that stuff. All I can control was my mental preparation and how hard I worked physically. And what that allowed me to do was make the football team, thanks to Coach Shiano in Tampa Bay. When I went down there, he called me and gave me the invitation to come down there and make the team. I worked as hard as I could, made the team. Next thing you know, Coach Shiano switched my position from being a wide receiver, which I was my whole entire life basically, to being a tight end, which required for me to put on 15 to 20 more pounds of muscle in a position I never played in the best professional, highest ranking professional sport in the NFL. And I literally had to just reinvent myself. And I had to just understand the nuances of that position. And literally within 4 games, I climbed from being the 7th on the depth chart to being the starter. And after that, I went on to catch 5 touchdowns, and I broke all the records for as a tight end, having one of the most successful decades as a rookie tight end. That resume gave me the opportunity to be spotlighted by Bill Belichick and the Patriots. And that next season was when they traded for me right before training camp ended. And next thing you know, I'm flying up to Boston. I'm walking in the facility. Tom Brady greets me. I look up and I see my locker next to Tom Brady. And as we know, 20-year veteran, probably one of the best, arguably the best football players in NFL history, was my locker mate. So think about the things I was able to learn from him in terms of continuing my preparation growth. And that's from field study, taking care of your body, taking care of your spiritual being, everything, all the wellness that's required with that. And I just give that quick backstory to just tell you guys that whatever arena that you're in, whatever industry that you're in, whatever major that you're studying, you always have to be able to adapt, and you have to be able to prepare for what's ahead of you. So that was, I would say, the foundation of how I got to achieve success both on and off the field and academically.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, in the time we have left,
Yes.
your journey with Del Mordio is just an amazing journey. So people need to know about Del Mordio, what it is, and how it's a game changer in the way people will listen to music for the next 100 years. Yes. So it's all yours.
Thank you so much. So I have the product next to me, and I want to show you guys. And this is a treat because You were one of the first audiences from the general public who actually had a chance to see behind the scenes with Dome Audio. So what you're looking at here is a branding keepsake, the future of sound with Dome Audio. And this is a branding keepsake and a charging case. So this actually stores your headphones. And what you're looking at here, and I'll show you up close, is the world's first surround sound bone conduction headphone. So this headphone, when you put it on, allows you to have your ear open so that you're staying connected to the world around you. And the way this technology works is it has 4 speakers, 2 on either side. It has a dual mic so that you can take your phone calls and you can, have conversations from headphone to headphone if you like. But this allows you literally to be open and stay connected. In this world right now, what we see with the pandemic and social distancing, it requires actually more connectivity. So now people are able to stay connected with each other with having their ears be unobstructed and being able to stay connected to the surrounding areas around you. So when you wear conventional headphones such as Beats or Bose or headphones that cover your ear, you're literally disconnected and you're basically put into a box. So that feeling of people who may be claustrophobic, or as students, you could relate to crossing the street and cars almost hitting you because you can't see it. Dome headphones allows you to literally hear everything around you. Now, here's the fun part, and here's where Rutgers and branding comes in. What you're looking at here are dome covers. And what this does is it's an interchangeable cover, noise isolation cover, that goes directly onto the headphone here. And when you put this on a headphone, it cancels out the outside noise around you. So now you have this branding component that when you go to the bookstore and you buy your hoodie and your hat and your sweatshirt or whatever you buy, now you can buy these Rutgers covers coming soon. We're in the process of acquiring a Rutgers license so that we can utilize all the R branding so that next time you look up, hopefully by next semester when we're back on campus, hopefully, you'll be seeing Dome headphones and Rutgers covers everywhere you look. So these headphones is a huge proponent for just literally making the world more open and connected. So we're excited to bring this technology to the world and introducing this disruptive product that's gonna be ubiquitous, and you're gonna see it around the world. So I'm very excited to show you guys that. And also, just as a little treat, I wanted to show you another example of what the covers can do. So this is the Louis Vuitton covers. Literally, these covers allow limitless fashion interchangeability. This is Supreme. I'm sure you guys love the brand Supreme, all of the millennials. But literally, all the concept covers that you saw here were concept covers. They weren't licensed yet. Nothing's in stone yet. So we're actually preparing those deals now with those different brands and different companies. But you'll be seeing this all over social media in the next coming months. And it's something very special that we're bringing to the world. So I'm excited to have given you guys a first look at that.
So great. There's a great message here for students. You start out at Rutgers University playing football, of course, but you studied criminology.
Yes.
And from criminology into football, into the Wright Cut, you also had the foundation into Dome Audio. So the message to Rutgers students is never worry about being pigeonholed. It's a big, wide, wonderful world. And you are such an example of that, Tim, with your versatility in what you're accomplishing from criminology to Dome Audio. Right. It almost sounds like your biography. Maybe I'll write it.
Correct. So I just want to touch on that, and then we could get into a little Q&A. So I was always an entrepreneur. I always had the entrepreneurial gene, entrepreneurial spirit in my body. Criminal justice was something that stood out to me because I have several family members who study criminal justice, and they're in the FBI. And I just wanted to, just explore that path in college. And that was the option that I had that I could balance with being a full-time football player in Campton and also a full-time golfer as well. But I always had the entrepreneurial gene. I just love the endless options that you had. And I feel like we discussed this a little earlier, but I feel like I'm literally just getting started. So you guys, over the next 50 years, God willing, will see a lot of different things come from me. And I want to continue to be a resource and be open for you guys. So you can follow me on Instagram at TimWright81. You can book an appointment and support the Wright Cut at therightcut.net. You can also go on domeaudioinc.com to look up Dome Audio and see the fun things that we're bringing. You can also follow Dome Audio on Instagram at Dome_audio. And you're just going to continue to see a lot of things come across your path with Tim Wright and Dome Audio, the Wright Cut, and everything that we're bringing. So thank you again for listening to my insight, my recommendations and things that I'm bringing to you today. So I just want to continue to propel hope for you and just be a big proponent for things are going to go your way, and you just got to continue to prepare and believe.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's really inspiring stuff. And so I can see that, it is interesting. You talked about when you were in college and you were cutting hair, and then you came back to think about opening up the Wright Cut, that you had gained all of this insight into marketing, right? Yes. So you didn't take a marketing class. You didn't major in marketing. Right. You obviously mastered some of those concepts, though, right? I mean, even moving into these two very different businesses, right? There are things that you're carrying from this life experience that you're bringing into different areas. That's really good. But I did want to bring up a couple of questions. So we have. One question is, are the headphones available now? Sounds like not, but I don't know if you have a projection as to when.
Yes, they are. They're available. So on Indiegogo, it's a platform. It's a pre-order crowdfunding platform, and it's called Indiegogo.com. You can go on Indiegogo.com right now and type in Dome headphones, and you can pre-order the headphones right there.
Okay. And then the other question was, what was the greatest lesson you learned about yourself while you were at Rutgers?
The greatest lesson I learned was to take advantage of the resources around me. I know that may sound cliche, but literally I watched a lot of my teammates who were the most talented athletes in the world just literally focus on football and just maybe getting by in academics. And I knew that to have an opportunity and a chance, once I got into the real world, I had to gain as much insight as possible. I'll use the reference a lot, be a sponge. Be a sponge means go into an arena, whether that's a networking event, whether that's a seminar, whether that's a job fair, and go seek as much information as possible. And when you go into that room, everyone goes into that room as a dry sponge. And we all know what that looks like, a dry sponge. But when you leave out that room, you want to be the most saturated sponge of information and knowledge that you can then explore. Because, that's the name of the game. What you know and who you know is one of the tickets to success, and whatever you want to explore, whether that's entrepreneurship, or whether that's working in a Fortune 500 company, in corporate, Wall Street, being a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is that you want to do in life. Literally, just soak up as much information as possible, and it's paid off invaluably for me.
Okay, great. And actually, I want to get Nicole involved a little bit here. You can unmute yourself. Were there? I think there's at least one other question in the Q&A, and I didn't know if anything came in through chat.
Yes. Question from Claudine Smith. Did you invent the Dome Audio?
So I think this is a very fitting backstory that Calvin will love right now. So God rest her soul, it was a lady by the name of Tanya Payton, who, after I won the Super Bowl, I was looking to continue to grow my brand, and I wanted to start my foundation. This was in 2015. So when I started my foundation, Tanya Payton was a marketeer, and she basically helped me build my brand. and she introduced me to Calvin for my football camp, and Calvin came down to the shore area and covered the camp. But she also introduced me to the founder and CEO and CTO of Dome Audio, Ben White, who on NJ Discover, you can also read his background as well. 25 years in the music industry, and he was looking to transition and continue to grow himself as well. Got into development, and he actually started developing products. So Dome Audio was actually invented by my partner, Ben White. Tremendous guy, tremendous spirit, great energy. We talk for 30 hours a day. It's not even 30 hours in a day, but that's how hard we're going for this project. And it's been an amazing ride for the last 2 years that I've been a part of Dome, and all the insight that and experiences that I've been able to gather throughout my journey as a college student at Rutgers, in the NFL, amongst some of the highest profile celebrity athletes in the world. And then also my background, just being an entrepreneur and just, loving to give back, loving to interact with people. I'm able to bring those things to this project and just, help create and bring this to a global thing. So it's been a great journey, and that's the background of that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
We also have from Perpetual. He actually said, I got my first big chop cut at the Wright Cut, so will always stay with me.
Nice.
So a little shout out for you. But he has a question. What is something you wish you knew right after college, as well as get more information in developing an entrepreneurial mindset?
Great questions. So I want to answer the second question first. And this actually, Jen, in college, when I tore my ACL in 2010, I was walking around on Livingston Campus with crutches, and it's like, you know what? I think I want to take an intro to business class just to get, just some general understanding of business and what it is, and might strike something inside of me that I want to continue to pursue. All I needed was that one class to give me, to basically light the fire inside that I already had burning. And I just got, so much introduction to the world of business that I said, I've been laying this down since I was 13. I want to come back on campus when I have the means one day, and I want to open up a business right on campus where I built my brand. So other than having some entrepreneurial things already inside of me, it was just a lot of insight that I sought after through YouTube. And I studied the successful CEOs. YouTube, me and my partner Ben White laugh about it all the time. YouTube is literally YouTube University. Literally a tutorial video of anything you ever want to learn, all the way to the most pristine knowledge you want to have of anything in the world. So I study some of the top CEOs and their business models. I don't always necessarily agree with the business tactics or their beliefs of every CEO, but it's something you could take from every business model, whether that's Amazon, whether that's Apple, and the list goes on. Elon Musk, the list is endless. But I just love seeking knowledge. I love to have that student first, day one mentality, because you can never know enough, and that always goes back to adaptability. So if you think you know it all and you put yourself in a box and you're like, I got it, I'm good, that's a downfall right there. That's something that could definitely be devastation, because in these times today, you can look at some of the most most enjoyable things you love, such as going to the movies or eating out at your local restaurants. They don't have that. It's closed for everybody right now. The world is on pause. It's a giant reset. So now you have to go back into what got you to where you are today, and that's continue being a student, and that's continue preparing and seeking information. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm just so grateful that I've been building on that my whole life. And then, I'm sorry to make that long-winded, but the first question.
Can I just want to answer very quickly. Just I want to acknowledge that we're a little bit over 4:30, so I understand some people may need to go for class or whatever else you have on your schedule. But Tim has graciously agreed to stay on for a bit. So if you do want to continue to join us, ask more questions, we will continue this chat for another 10 minutes or so.
Absolutely.
So, thanks. So the second question was what did you wish you knew when you graduated college?
Oh my goodness. This is a tough one. I'm very I'm very pleased at what I was able to take from Rutgers and when I entered into the real world. And I'm also grateful. Growing up, I had all four grandparents in my life literally lived down the street from each other. So I married my high school sweetheart. My parents were high school sweethearts and married right in the neighborhood, right in the same neighborhood. So I would say a lot of my upbringing made me a well-rounded person. And I really don't, it's a hard question to ask because I don't really have any regrets. I feel like Rutgers, I used and exhausted Rutgers. I squeezed the limit out as much as possible there. So I'm very grateful and pleased what I was able to take away from Rutgers. And it's a bit hard question to answer right now. Yep.
No, I mean, that's great. And I think there's a nugget of advice in there, right? It's to go out there, as you said before, use this time while you're in college to explore, because Rutgers, I mean, my gosh, it is like people from all over, so many programs,
So many programs, so many resources.
so
Absolutely.
many things going on.
Yep.
So yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, I want to get into your head a little bit. So you mentioned when you were asked to adapt to that new position, becoming a tight end, right? And you mentioned this is something you'd never done before. This is way outside of your comfort zone, right? That's panic. That's panic inducing. So what's the next thought that goes through your head? How do you get out of panic mode and accept that challenge and start to move on, right? Like, what goes on in your head to get you through those moments?
Great question. I think the first thing you have to do is embrace whatever it is that was asked of you or whatever situation is at hand. Embrace it. And now prepare on the things you can control. So what I had to do was literally understand the nuances of the position. I knew I had to put on muscle. I knew I had to understand the different terminology of the game. So that could be switching a major because you had to, right? That could be understanding that a market or industry that you were pursuing in a major has just been shut down due to the pandemic, and now you have to pivot to another interest you have. Now it's okay. Got to change my major, or I got to, change my career focus. And now, what is it that I like and love? What can I control about that? And literally just be a student of whatever it is that you have to learn and understand. Once you're a student and you take those day by day steps of writing goals, of waking up and attacking, literally embracing it, that gives you the confidence. And that's another thing that I always say: preparation gives you confidence. It's nothing like going into an exam or a test or an interview, being prepared and being confident. Imagine when you came out of high school, or literally in high school, going into the SAT or taking one of your final exams without studying. It's talk about just panicking. That's absolutely what happens. But when you have that confidence and preparation, I can't say it enough. It goes across the board. That was the main thing that I did. I understood what the ask was, and I just went out there and made it happen.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Fearless.
So, Nicole, are there any other questions that you're seeing in the chat area here?
Yeah. Nikita Wilbur, while playing at Rutgers and the NFL, besides coaches and trainers, were there any people on the business side of athletics that you interacted with and helped you get to where you are today?
Oh man, one that's jumping out and is so fitting for this answer is Tim Pernetti. Tim Pernetti was the athletic director at Rutgers when I was there, and I played I believe he came in that position my second through fifth year. And he was also a tight end as well. So we connected right there. And he was just such a open, interpersonal guy. He just loved to interact and be engaged with the program. And I drew close to that. And literally, he transitioned from being an athletic director at Rutgers to being a president at IMG College. And IMG oversees all the logos and licensing of all the universities around the country. So when Dome came about and this opportunity, and what we refer to this as is headphone real estate, Calvin likes to say accessorizing. Whatever you want to call it, you can interchange it. You can have different looks. So with this Rutgers idea and knowing all my connections there, all the blood, sweat, and tears I put at Rutgers, I said, we got to come back to Rutgers and make Rutgers literally be the first school that trailblazes and pioneers this technology. So while I was there, Tim Pernetti, you know, literally just was a guy I could lean on, I could reach out to. He was always open. And I'm grateful for that today because he's helping with Dome Audio get introduced to the right people to help move this along. Yep.
Wow, neat. It's a great networking story too. You just never know how things are going to come around and change later on when you meet someone.
So added to that, I was a person who understood and never burned bridges because think about the NFL. It's been so many stories where coaches literally go from one team to the next. You can literally get cut, whether that's a job you're at or you're seeking. You could literally be in that job for 1 year. Next thing you know, you either want to transition or, you know, God forbid, you get fired and have to pivot. You end up into another company. And now that person that you may have burned a bridge or held a grudge against is now at that company. And that could be the person that can be the door opener or gatekeeper for you to continue to ascend in that career or literally shut that door for you. So I always was a person who just always try to seek peace and make peace. And it's been paid off for me tremendously to this day. So always keep your relationships knowing that you can cross that person again down a path and it may be your ticket in or it could shut you out.
And that includes classmates. I heard a story from a sport management professor about a student who had a classmate he was on a group project with, and the student was not very responsive, didn't really pull their weight, right? And so the other person ended up getting a job with the Yankees, and the person who had dropped the ball in the group project applied for a job with the Yankees and was a finalist for the position. He didn't get it because the person in the hiring role remembered him as a classmate. And right, so you know, every interaction in a way is a bit of an interview, right? You just never know how it's going to come back around.
I love the social network as another example. Facebook, I love studying those business models. But think about the social network. Literally, somebody in your class, obviously it's a virtual class now, but somebody in your class could literally be the next Mark Zuckerberg. And although you may not be an entrepreneur yourself, you can have the talent, you can have the grit, and you can have the value that connects with another student that creates the next biggest thing. So all, you know, literally your classmates as well, no matter what age they are, whether they're a senior and you're a freshman or you're a senior, they're a freshman, you never know who's sitting next to you and what they're capable of. So I love to use that example as well.
Yes. So Nicole, do you have any other questions in the audience?
So Claudine Smith, she has two. Will
Okay.
Rutgers students or alum get discounts on the Dome Audio?
So we actually we haven't determined what that type of love will be yet, but we are with our crowdfunding right now, our pre-order crowdfunding platform. We're offering a lot of incentives for people who want to come on and purchase the product. And I would say down the line, you never know what happens, but we definitely might be able to show some love for the population of Rutgers and Rutgers Nation for sure. Yep.
Okay.
Why did you choose Livingston as the spot for your barbershop?
Yeah, so in 2012, that's when Livingston Plaza was being built. And I just love innovation. I love new. And I knew that was a growing campus and an opportunity for me to take advantage of the storefronts right on campus. And if you take it a step deeper, looking at the option of going off campus into a normal neighborhood where there's 100 other shops and I'm gonna be competing directly with them, or taking the option of being on an island gold mine of my own with our own built-in database and consumer clientele, I chose Rutgers, and I was like, look, this is a great opportunity for me, where I built my brand to come back and put a campus and bring so much value to students, student faculty, teachers, whatever, faculty of Rutgers, and also the community, the outskirt community of Rutgers, because it's open to people off campus as well. So if you're in the New Brunswick area, Piscataway area, Highland Park, any of those Edison, any of those neighboring areas, anybody can come on campus at the Wright Cut and get their hair serviced. So I just knew it was a great opportunity for me to attract a lot of students and just make such an impact right on campus and be an example. Yep. So that's why I chose Rutgers Livingston Campus.
My home campus too. Spent all 4 years on campus.
Right. Yes.
So we should probably wrap up, but do you have any final words of wisdom that you want to share? Any final words of advice you want to share with students?
Yes. I just want to, I think, reiterate on the point that everyone in the world right now is facing fear with this pandemic, the uncertainty of tomorrow, of literally the next 5 hours. We could get a new address from our governor or our president of some dramatic change. But just understand that we can't control those things. And the only thing that you can do with your time right now is to self-reflect, is to realize who you are deep down into the core. I would say establish your support system if you don't already have it. Continue to believe in yourself and have faith that the future is bright, and that whatever you want to pursue and whatever you believe in, go after it, no matter what. You're going to get knocked down several times. Even in the midst of me being in the NFL after the Super Bowl, that my 4th year, I tore my ACL again on the other leg, out for an entire season. So I had my fair battles of physical, emotional, and spiritual, just breaking it all down. I had my fair battles of that, and I'm a person sitting in front of you today that can attest to that, and that can say the future is bright for us all. Just continue pushing, continue believing in yourself, and you can do anything you put your mind to. So that's what I want to leave you with. And I thank everyone for their attention. I really appreciate this opportunity.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Really appreciate your time and your wisdom. And it's just, just what a great Rutgers story. It's so many respects.
I do want to leave this. This is also in the article, but so I grew up on a street named Rutgers. My grandparents lived on a street named Rutgers. Literally, like half my life, I lived there. And I went to Neptune High School, and their name is Neptune Scarlet Flyers. And my junior year, I transferred to Wall, and their name is Wall Crimson Knights. So when you put it all together, Rutgers Scarlet Knights is literally in my blood and my DNA.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's a great story.
You guys would, yes, definitely.
Thank you, and Calvin, thank you so much as well for introducing us and for hosting this interview. Would you like to say any final words?
This was great, and I marvel. And Tim and I always talk about it, how we got put together by Tanya Payton, who at the time was Jay-Z's PR person. Am I right, Tim?
Yes, for the first 10 years of
marvel at that, how Tanya found me in this world. I was just beginning my journalism, and she found me and put me in touch with Tim, and the spiritual side of all this. And Tim's living on Rutgers Street, and I'm just thrilled that we're able to bring this to bring this interview to Rutgers students. And the only thing I will say is I'm back tomorrow, aren't I? Except I'm in a different seat. You're going to interview me, Jennifer.
Yes.
At 12 noon, at high noon.
Talking your networking knowledge.
Yes.
See how you manage to collect so many amazing friends.
Of
So,
the-
and that's the thing. A little preview on your talk, and then we'll cut this off. But I think the thing I've learned since meeting you is it's all about how genuine you are, right? I think the biggest misconception about networking is it's all about being fake and doing these fake things to get fake friends who help you get a job. But that's really not what it's about. It's about really exploring and finding people that you really connect with.
Correct.
And the best networking is the most sincere and where you develop a relationship that goes beyond just work.
Yes.
And,
There's a lot to be said about that. It's all genuine and caring, and of course I mixed in Rutgers because that's what I really care about, and it's a great mixture, and it's a very productive mixture, and it's opened up so many doors. I mean, meeting you is a direct result of my jumping in to Rutgers, and of course meeting Tim. As soon as I heard that he was a Rutgers football player, boom, 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 I'm there. The common ingredient, the common thread, is my love of Rutgers. And I could talk about it for hours, but I won't now.
all right. Well, on that note, we will let everyone go and really thank everyone for hanging with us today and spending some time this afternoon. So good luck on exams, everyone, and hope you learned something interesting today. All right.
Yes,
Have a good afternoon. Thanks again.
Tim, we'll talk.
All
We'll
right.
talk.
Thank you again.
So-
All right.